everyone. My name is Vijay Shagarma, and today I am going to show you how to run a Hive query on a table created by using CSV files from our local machine. To do this, first we need to import the CSV files into the file browser. So I'll just create a folder named driver data in the Hive folder. So first we need to import the files in the Hive folder, so driver data folder. So I'll just upload the files from my local machine. So the files are drivers and timesheet.csv. I'll just open them. They are uploaded in the folder driver data. Now, so quickly I'll switch on to the query editor. So first I'll write a query to create a temporary table which would include the rows from the drivers.csv file, which would be stored in a temporary driver table. So I'll just run this query, and when this query ends, we'll see a table created of rows consisting of the entries from the CSV file. So as you can see, the rows are also in the CSV comma separated format. So when the next thing that we need to do is we need to create a table drivers which would consist the entries without this comma separation. Like they will be divided into different columns based on the first row. So as you can see, the first row in this CSV file is driver ID. So we'll create a column named driver ID which consists of integers. So I'll define the column type as int, and the second row is name, third is SSN, and so on. So I just created a columns based on the CSV file format. So when we run this query, we get a table drivers with the columns named driver ID, name, SSN, and so on. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to read each row in the temporary driver table and separate each column which is separated by commas, and store it into different columns of the drivers folder, drivers table. So just like we'll use the first entry to be stored in driver ID, second in the name, third in the SSN, and so on. And this will create a table which would consist the entries of each row separated in the form of different columns. So this query takes a little time. So after the query ends, we will just see what is stored in the drivers table. So when I run this query, we can see the entries in the drivers table which get converted from CSV format to different columns. Now the same thing we have to do for the timesheet CSV file as well. So I'll just create a temporary timesheet uh, table which would consist the CSV formatted entries from this timesheet.csv file. Next, I'll create a timesheet table which would consist the entries in the form of different columns, just like we did in the drivers table. So this query again will take some time to run, so we need to wait for some time. Okay, so the timesheet. Oh, the first thing that we need to do is we need to create a query called timesheet table called timesheet. So this is the query. So we need to run it first. So we run it again, and then we run the next query to insert different rows from the CSV formatted temporary timesheet to column separated timesheet table. So after the query runs, I'll just show you the entries in the timesheet table as well. So it consists of the uh, driver IDs, their work week, and the number of hours they drove in that week, and the number of miles that they drove in that week. So I'll just simply run first a query to show the total number of hours that a driver drove in the whole time period that we have in the timesheet table. So this query will show us the total number of hours and total miles that each driver which with driver ID will that he traveled during the whole time. So this for this we are using query which selects driver ID, the sum of hours and sum of miles from the timesheet table and group it by driver ID. So this is give us the total number of hours and miles traveled by the driver during the whole time. So as you can see, the driver ID, like for driver ID, the driver with driver ID 10 drove 3,232 hours and 14 1 lakh 147,150 miles. So this is how we can see the whole table. Now the second query that we need to run is we cannot see the name of the person who drove this much for this much time. So we will simply write a query to join the two tables, drivers and timesheet, to show a new table which consists of the names as well as the driver IDs of all the drivers with their total number of hours and total number of miles that they have traveled. So this query again will take some time. So after 4 hours of searching, I found out what was the problem. Actually, we need to use this query to set the flag for no conditional tasks as false, so that we can execute the conditional statement in the query. So when I run this query, it sets the non-conditional no conditional task as false, and we can run a query based on join and a conditional statement. So when we run this query, we can see that we get a list of all the drivers and the total hours and total miles they have covered during their driving. So that's how we use Hive to run queries on table using the CSV files. Thank you very much for watching the video. This is Vijay Vishwakarma. Thank you very much.